What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast No Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to take a look at the player numbers for Split Fiction. It wasn't really something that was on my radar. I had just assumed, It Takes Two did very, very good, not just out of the gate, but obviously long term. I mean, when Joseph Fares has been doing these interviews over the last couple of weeks, he's talked about how this game has sold 23 million units, and there's been jokes that were made of like maybe a lot of a Chinese audience. Maybe that's true, maybe it's slightly exaggerated, but either way, doesn't matter if you sell half those units in China. 10% of it doesn't matter. 23 million lifetime is extraordinarily good, right? And for a game, by the way, that you buy the game and then you get like a friend pass thing for, so for it to sell 23 million means that about 46 million people, right, were able to play it. Obviously, discounts and all that kind of stuff, but that game obviously did extremely, extremely well for EA, for Hazelight, for everybody involved, right? Well, Split Fiction, obviously, I was very, very much looking forward to this. I think a lot of people were. But it wasn't really something I thought about too much to like keep track of its player base. But the thing blew up. The thing blew up kind of right away. Now, it's actually interesting because it's rather down at the time I'm recording this from the all-time peak. And I'm not recording at like a terrible time where like you would imagine nobody's playing it. But you have almost 200,000 people at its peak, right? 12 hours ago at the time I'm recording this. So kind of in the morning, very early morning, 197,000 people played this game. Right now it's only at 47, so it actually dropped. It's actually only a quarter of what it once was, but I'm sure it'll fluctuate. We'll see what it does over the next couple days. Now, I guess the really only one other thing to talk about with this is because I've seen this kind of narrative, and it's something, honestly, I will say I kind of thought about it as soon as I saw that number, where it's okay, specifically for Steam, right? Like, I mentioned It Takes Two. When you say It Takes Two sold that amount, you are only saying, like, okay, the copy itself sold it. So it sold 20 plus million. And then you had to play it. So you had to play it with another person, right? Now, that other person, obviously, like, they count to a degree, like, they experienced the game, right? But they didn't contribute financially, okay? With this game, specifically how we're looking at it with Steam, this still beats the all-time peak, right? This still beats, you look at It Takes Two, and It Takes Two, I believe, was like 70,000, 73,000 on Steam as an all-time high. And what I'm about to say for Split Fiction, you can also use for It Takes Two, okay? So just to be fair to kind of everything involved here. So the one thing that would probably stand out is, well, that actually isn't numbers sold, right? So it's going to be interesting, especially how these sites that kind of track sales, and, they're a little sketchy. They don't do a perfect, like 100% job there. But, you look at almost 200,000 people playing it. That doesn't mean it was 200. In fact, and this is actually quite interesting with a game like this, you have to play it with a second person, just like It Takes Two. You cannot, and actually I think A Way Out as well, you cannot play this game by yourself. You can't play this game with AI either. You have to play it with another person. So when 200,000 people fire this game up at one time on Steam, it's actually half that got the... I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm saying it just as, I guess, something to kind of throw in there where, I guess, if you look at, like, numbers or sales versus, like, people playing, this is the one time it's actually kind of wacky, right? Like, kind of different. You literally just cut it in half. So almost 200,000 people were playing at an all-time high. That means that 100,000 people, I guess, got the game, like, actually purchased it and then gave it to another person at one time. I think the game has probably easily sold 1 million units, and I'm sure within the next couple of days, I'm sure EA or Hazelight will say, thank you to the 2-3 million people that bought Split Fiction in the first couple of days. I'm sure that's coming. I think this game is going to be very, very big. I've always kind of thought that, but that's just something to throw in. And again, like if you say, oh, well, obviously that makes it a little bit lower because now only 100,000 people say, I'm like an average, an everyday game, right? When you look at any other game where when you buy it, that's the person that's playing it, and that's the only person that's playing it. Well, you could actually say the same thing for It Takes Two. So I guess the jump in player base, that still does matter. That is still something that I think you can like factually say, where you say, okay, well, It Takes Two had 70,000. This has almost triple, right? This has almost triple the people. Well, you still have to look at sales, so you cut the numbers in half, but you actually have to cut the numbers in half for It Takes Two as well, right? So while 100,000 people maybe got the game, right, bought it all at one time, they were playing it with a friend, when you go back to It Takes Two, it was like 36,000 people were doing it, right? So it's still that same jump. It's still an enormous jump from It Takes Two to Split Fiction. So again, I'm having having a blast with it. I'm going to have hopefully a review over the next couple days as soon as my wife and I beat it. But I'm very happy to see the success, and I'm very confident that this game is going to sell many, many millions of copies. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.